My middle son is Brandon with the glasses, and my youngest is Matt. And real estate in general has afforded me the opportunity to go all over the country. And one of the things I will ask each of you is, what is your why right now? Why real estate? So the question I have, and I really want to know this, so please take a few seconds and put your why. And if you don't want to put it out there for everybody, you can send me a direct, you can go down to the bottom and put direct message just so I see it. But I want to know what your why is, because I'm here to tell you, I will not pull any punches with you. I'm here to make you money. I want to be your friend, but I'm not necessarily need to be your friend, right? I want you to live your best life. And that starts with, what is your why? Why are you doing this? If it's just money, I'm going to tell you right now, if you don't love real estate and you don't like what this is, you won't work. This won't work for you. I'm just going to be honest with you. But my why sits right in front of you right there. My family, my youngest plays ice hockey and has played ice hockey from the time he's been 2 years old. And I have literally gone all over this nation. And I can honestly say, I have never missed one game, no matter where it is. Now, sometimes if he's in college, I can watch him on TV, but I can honestly say I've never missed a game. So the question is, what's your why? That's a private thing for you, but I really would like to know what some of the whys are, because it's important. Understanding what you do. I also have a couple fur babies, by the way. If you follow me on Facebook, you will see that I don't do a whole lot of real estate and stuff. All my Facebook stuff, all my social media is pretty much personal. So if you want to get to know me, that's me. So I got a black and a white lab. That's my youngest, Charlie. If we were live, I would say, let's hear it. And everyone goes, oh, she's so cute. But yeah. All right. So let's get started. Now that you know a little bit about me, I'd love to understand more about you, but there'll be time for that. So how do you buy houses the right way? Is there a right way? Is there a wrong way? Sure, there is. There's not a wrong way. It's just a better way, right? So buying houses, I'll call it the right way, or a better way, is when you don't have to put the loan in your name and you don't have to use a bunch of money and you don't have to go to the banks and qualify, right? I mean, raise your hand. How many people would like to know? Oh, well, before you raise your hand, hold on. Before you raise your hand, how many people have currently done a subject to or some form of creative finance? Raise your hand. I want to see that. I want to see who all has done those types of. Okay, so we got maybe 6 or 7 people. Okay, you guys can put your hands down. All right, so that's good. That means that a lot of you, I'm going to open your world to an entirely different way of investing, because what you will see, what you've been seeing probably, is how many people have heard about the Bur Method, BRRR and a bunch of R's, right? How many people think that's a good way of going? Put it in the chat for me, because I can't hear you, so I can't be in the audience pointing. So put it in the chat. How many people like the Bur or don't know really what it is, but have heard a lot about it? The problem with the Bur Method is it's buy it. Let me see if I get this right. Buy it, renovate it, refinance, or wait, buy it, renovate, rent, refinance, repeat. I think that's it, right? Okay. Sounds great. The problem is, how many of those deals can you do on your personal credit? Unless you go out and get business credit and you know how to do all that, you're going to be done at 4 at the most, right? Unless you have some business savvy and you got a good accountant and somebody can get you a bunch of business loans, you're stuck. So what I'm going to talk about tonight is all the different ways that you can buy properties that I've been doing for decades. And people go, well, I mean, some of the things that you'll be going through your head right now is, you can't do this in this economy. That's BS. sometimes by the way, if I swear, I apologize up front. Sometimes it gets away from me, but I'm pretty real. So there's 3 reasons businesses fail. Number 1, poor management. What does that mean? That means that you have poor direction, lack of focus. Maybe you don't have any systems in place. You don't know what you're doing. You're just kind of sitting there waiting for things to happen. You don't have it. So it just doesn't work. Lack of education. What's the second one? Anybody know? Second one is poor marketing. Now, you can use these 3 things that I'm going to teach you right now. You can apply these things to any successful or failed business. I don't care what it is. It can be a Fortune 1000 company, 500 company, 100 company, mom and pop. Doesn't matter. These concepts apply to everybody. 3 reasons businesses fail. 1, poor management. Number 2, poor marketing. That means you're either marketing to the wrong people or you're not doing enough of it. The third reason is, or your marketing inconsistency. And the third reason is money. And that means you don't have enough of it to get started, or you don't have enough to keep going. So I don't care what it is. Those 3 reasons, you need to understand why a business fails, because if you can understand why a business fails, you will understand, because I'm here to tell you, every single one of you, whether you're new or not. In fact, why don't you guys tell me that? How new are you? How many houses? Tell me if you've bought 0, 1 to 5, 6 to 10, or 10 plus. I'm going to get a feel for my audience here. How's that? So lots of zeros. That's good. Man, you've come to the right place, because I'm going to teach you how to do this thing the right way. Now, again, I say that with my tongue in my cheek. There's no right or wrong way of doing it, but there is a way where, years ago, Ron LeGrand, if you know who he is, he gave me 2 pieces of advice. He said, don't go down to the bank to weather this business, to get good at it. Remember 2 things. Don't go down to the bank and borrow money, meaning don't go securing loans, and don't write big checks, meaning don't go, if you have $100,000 or $200,000 in your bank account, don't go buy a house with $200,000. Don't write big checks. So if you can remember those 2 pieces of advice, and that advice had been given to me years ago, 20 some years ago, and I've lived by it. So by the looks of it, you guys are all new. So please pay attention. So there's 3 reasons: management, marketing, and money. I don't care what business it is. You now have to figure out, where are you in that process? And I can tell you, just by looking at the number of zeros, you are in the management phase, because you don't know enough about the real estate to feel comfortable. So that's fine. So that's where we have to fix. Once you fix that, your next step will be, I got to get into the marketing phase. And then once you fix that, you'll realize, oh, wow, I need money. Well, you might think, well, then I'm good. No, that's just the beginning, because now that you've fixed those 3 things, guess what you want to do now? You want to increase your business. So guess what? You need better systems to help you manage that. Then you need more marketing, and now you need more money. So you will always be in a perpetual cycle. Your job is to recognize where you are and what's standing in your way so that you can fix it. So the question I have is, which one of those 3 are you, as the person listening, in right now? Some of you may be in different spots. Whoops, I went backwards. Sorry, that didn't work. All right. Who knows what this is? Anybody know what this is? All that stuff right there? It's not money. What is that? Looks like static, right? That, my friend, is called noise. What do I mean by noise? This whole world we are in right now is filled with noise. What I mean by noise is, you have TikTok, you have YouTube, you have seminars you go to at the Rehab group, you have all this information coming at you, at lightning speed. The problem is you're getting fragments of it. You're getting a 10-minute YouTube video here, you're getting a 5-minute or a 3-minute TikTok there, and you're trying to piece all of this together. And the problem is there's so much noise out there, you just don't know. I think there's some people, let me admit some of these people. Hold on. So what do you do to cut through the noise? Well, I'm going to tell you. Let me get through this. Most people that you see today are what I call a dog chasing 6 rabbits. Now, tell me if this is you. You can raise your hand. You can send me, you can put it in the post. I don't care. You go to a Rehab group or you go there and you buy it. You love what the person is saying. You buy it. You come home, you put it on the shelf. Maybe you listen to it. Maybe you don't. I don't know. It sounds good. So you bought it. So then the next month, somebody else comes, talks about a totally different program. Sounds easy. You go buy it, bring it home. You do that 2, 3, 4 times, or you listen to 12 different videos. And before long, you are what I call a dog chasing 6 rabbits, and you're not chasing anything. You're not catching anything because you're too worried about chasing a shiny penny. Does that apply to anybody here? Raise your hand if you feel that's you right now, because I go through these audiences everywhere I go. And it's always the same. I have half the audience going, that's me. You're inside my head. The truth is, all you really need to do is have the ability to take action. And the fact that you're here is good. That gives you the ability to take action, get some good education. And I don't mean 10 minutes at a time. I don't mean a 3-minute TikTok video that's just going to give you a teaser information. I'm saying take the time to learn from someone that's been doing it, that can give you the whole thing, not just one aspect. They tell you a chain is only as strong as its weakest link. Well, if you're only buying one course from one person, and that's just one link of the entire chain of a real estate business, you may be two different you may be getting stuff from many different people, different strengths, right? So you want to make sure whatever you do, it is a bond that's going to take you. As an engineering background, that's my mindset. I have to know from start to finish. I have to know how to connect all the dots from start to finish. Otherwise, I don't do anything. I become a dog chasing 6 rabbits, or I become an ostrich where I bury my head in the sand and I don't do anything. I get paralyzed by information. So I have to know from step to what's the next step? What's the next step? What's the next step? Okay. So action, education, a step-by-step system that's already proven. And then your ability. And this, if you have the first 3 but lack the 4th one, shut down the web, shut down this, turn this off, go watch TV, go watch the Housewives of whatever, because this is going to do you absolutely no good. You're just going to waste your time. Because if you don't have the ability to stay focused, you will be a dog chasing 6 rabbits. So how do I fix that for you? Is I meet with you when you become one of my students. I don't allow you to slack off, because you are required to meet with me Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Monday at 7 p.m., Wednesday at 7 p.m., and Friday at noon. Now, you don't have to make all of them, but I expect you to make most of them, because guess what? If you want to make money in this business, you're going to have, especially all these zeros that I see that you haven't bought a house yet. Guess what? You have 1,001 questions. And if you don't have the coach that's going to answer the questions for you, you don't want a coach that's going to wait a week or wait 2 weeks or has no idea what you're going through. You don't want that person. That's why I tell you, you have to get a step-by-step system that works and someone that's going to be there for you. That's what we do. All right. So there's your plan right there. Take action, get educated, put a step-by-step system in place, and stay focused. Let's see. Got to admit, Jenny. All right. So reading and studying. Let me clue you in. How many people think reading and studying is the fastest way to start to get where you want to make money? Hell no. Reading and studying is not the fastest way. That's like me telling you, hey, I'm going to teach you how to swim. Here's a book. You can't learn to swim from a book. That's like me sending you to a seminar going, okay, we're going to all here in this room today, we're going to learn how to swim. Ready? Let's go. Doesn't work, does it? I mean, it'll teach you the concepts, but you won't learn a darn thing until you get out there in the world and you start moving and you start paddling and you start breathing heavy and you start getting scared. I'm going to drown. And that's when the coach grabs you by the trunks and says, nope, I got you. You're all right. But reading and studying is not the fastest way. The fastest way is to have somebody hold your hand. And that's why I'm here. So I'm going to show you tonight the system that works in every place, every city. And some of you will say it doesn't work here. It works everywhere but where you live. Let me say that then, because I've been in every state in the United States and outside of the United States, and I'm here to tell you it works everywhere. You have a never-ending supply of houses, and this is the one thing that you have to understand. It's never going away. I don't care whether the economy is taking a dive or whether it's the best economy on the planet. We as investors investing like I'm teaching you, you will make more money in a bad market than you do a good market. Because when there's chaos, people make decisions based on that stress. We are going to show you how to solve people's problems when they are stressed. And guess what? Do you think people right now are getting stressed? Now, they haven't been stressed, and the economy's been great. I mean, the housing market has been booming. But let me give you some quick statistics. Just here in Atlanta or here in the state of Georgia, foreclosures have increased almost 400% in 60 days. Okay. People are, I don't even know the guy's name. He's on YouTube and he does a lot of statistics. And every single indicator indicates that we are in for a recession. So let me ask you a question. Does that scare you? Give me a thumb. We got to approve some people here. Give me a thumbs up or a high five or whatever the little emojis are if you think this is going to be a great time coming up to buy houses. Okay, excellent. How many people here, you put your hands down, how many people are concerned that they're worried about what's going to happen in our economy? Raise your hand to that, because there'll be some of you that are that way too. Okay, so it's kind of iffy. It's kind of what I'll say 25%, 25%. Okay, let me explain something to you. Regardless of the economy that we are in, we are not investors. And please write this down, highlight it, circle it, put a little star next to it. You are not a real estate investor. I am going to teach you how to be a problem solver. That is the difference. When you can go in and you can solve someone's problem, it doesn't matter about money. It doesn't matter about loan to value ratio. It doesn't matter, because you have the ability to solve their problem where someone else doesn't. I'll give you I'll try to give it to you very quick. I just went on an appointment 2 days ago. I went in there, they had 2 offers already on the table for $200,000. Cash offer. I went in and started to talk to the person and quickly realized that they were in bad health. They had Medicaid. They didn't have a place to live. They didn't have a place to go to. So right away I said, look, and I just happened to have an apartment. I said, I'll move you into one of my apartments on the ground floor. I'll help you move. By the way, they didn't have gas, they didn't have water, and they were getting their electric turned off the day I was there. And I said, here's what I can do for you. I can give you a place to live, but when I buy this property, you're going to have to pay me a year in advance rent so that I don't have to worry about it and you don't have to worry about it, of where the money's coming from. You've got an entire year to make your, to kind of settle yourself. Okay. Then I found out she had Medicaid. Well, guess what? When you have Medicaid, that's government assistance, healthcare. If you know anything about it, when you make so much money, if you make more money than Medicaid allows, guess what happens? You lose Medicaid. So what did we do? I structured an owner finance where I gave the person $180,000, but I put it into an escrow account and I dripped it out to her so that she wouldn't lose her Medicaid. She still got the same. She got actually $10,000 or $20,000 less with me, but I moved her in an apartment. She didn't have to think, her and her family, she didn't have to think about the apartment. I got the structure down and I got in with virtually no money out of my pocket. Why? Because I solved the problem. And the problem isn't always money. And that's the thing you have to understand with creative financing. That's the biggest takeaway. Okay. So you can do this. You don't have to qualify for banks. You need no prior experience. You don't have to have a realtor's license. You don't have to quit your job, any of this stuff. All this stuff doesn't matter, right? You just have to have the ability to take action. So let me ask you a question. How many people, raise your hand, how many people would buy this house? Okay. Well, you don't even know what the numbers are yet, but it looks like a great house. Would you all agree? So let's talk about that for a second. Let's say now, if you're in Boston, maybe you got to put a zero on the end of this. I don't know what real estate's up there, but just if it is, just put a zero on the end of these, right? So you get a fair market value for that house, or after repair value on that is $200,000. They have a first mortgage of $145,000, and it looks nice. It's a beautiful home. All they need is paint and carpet. So they have a total of $150,000. How many people think this is a great deal? Now, again, just looking at the numbers, how many people think that's a good deal? $50,000 profit, 33% return on your investment. The problem is what? What's the problem in a scenario like this? Anybody tell me? Somebody says they can't hear. Susan, can you still hear me?
Coming through pretty clear on this side.
Okay.
I have clear audio too.
Okay. Well, Susan, maybe it's some on her side. Okay. The problem that most people have here is, guess what? They don't have $150,000. Everybody on the planet says, yeah, that's a good deal. But guess what, Don? I don't have $150,000. Okay. I didn't either when I started. Okay. It's got a loan to value ratio of 75%. Well, most hard money lenders, are they going to lend on that at 75%? Not without you bringing a bunch of money to the table to get you under that 70% or 65%. So it doesn't fit the mold. It does fit my mold though, because guess what? What stops most people from buying this? I mentioned one thing, but give me something else. What stops most people from going down and getting a loan? Just put some stuff out there. James says bank less than 80%. Okay. Credit, paying the loan back. Okay. Well, here's what stops most people. They don't have money. They may have credit. Maybe they don't want to use their credit. That was me. I had credit. I just didn't want to use it. I was scared to use it. I had money, but I didn't want to use it. Ron told me not to. Ron said, don't write big checks. So I was like, oh, I'm scared to death. I didn't want to write big checks. How many people go, I don't know what to say to them. I don't know how to get them to give me their home. Okay. How about, well, what happens if I say the wrong thing? Anybody here afraid of losing money? I would bet you to say all those people that had zeros up there, one of the reasons why they don't step out on that branch of life is because they're afraid to get out too far because they're afraid it might break. Am I right? Okay. How many people have paperwork? This is the one thing that stopped me dead in my tracks. I was afraid of paperwork, petrified me. Okay. Or I was afraid to make a mistake. What happens if I make a mistake? Am I going to be, all of that? Guess what? It's easily solved. You just have to know how to do this and someone to walk you through that step by step. How about this house? This is a little tiny house, right? This is a student of mine. He bought this house. Let's walk through these numbers quickly. Fair market value 100. The first mortgage was 85. So there's only $15,000 worth of equity on this property. Most investors will pass on this because why? No equity. All right. It also needed paint and carpet and a bunch of repairs. So he's got $10,000 repairs. So now the loan to value on that ratio, no loan to value ratio on that property is $95,000 and it's only worth 100. Remember, in Boston, add a zero to that. Right. So it's a total of $95,000. Who walks away? Who buys this stuff? Which investor is going to walk in and buy this? Most of them will not because there's no equity. They're like, there's no room for me to make any money. And some of you may be still under that mindset. And because there's only a $5,000 profit at best, 5% return, 95% loan to value ratio, it would suck in most cases. Most people would walk from this, but I'm going to show you how that one deal made this guy a small fortune if you know how to do it. So there's two ways to buy right. Good price, good terms. Good price means what? Good price means you buy it low. Typically in our industry, we're looking to buy stuff below 70% loan to value ratio, right? 65, 70 cents on the dollar. Some areas, even nowadays, are pushing that to 75. And I heard one guy say, I buy at 80%. And I'm like, without coming across the wrong way, I wanted to say, man, that's just not smart. I wanted to use another word, but it's not, that when you start, each one of you need to understand what your buy box is. Does everybody know what I mean by a buy box? What I mean, like I sell homes to hedge funds. Every hedge fund that I've ever sold anything to, guess what? They have what's called a buy box. And what does that mean? That means that, hey, Don, if you can bring me a house that's this age, has these few things already in it, and is in this condition, like one of them is can't be on a double line highway. One of them, it has to be newer than 1980. All the systems have to be updated within the last 5 to 8 years. Okay, so if I know what that buy box is, I'm going to focus on that. Well, in your case, you have to have your criteria or your buy box. What am I going to look at and what am I going to trash and throw away? So let's talk about good price. So for me, I don't buy anything that I can't buy, that if I'm going to pay cash, I don't pay more than 70% of loan to value ratio, period. Minus repairs, period. Now, that's good price. Tonight, we're not going to be talking about good price. That's all cash offer. We're going to be talking about good terms. There's going to be plenty of properties that you're going to come up against, especially in 2022 and 2023, that are going to fall under the good terms category. Better neighborhoods, owner finance, subject to, sandwich lease options, wraparound mortgages, all of those because people are going to be distressed. Right now, people are paying stupid money for properties. But the good thing is they're getting them at low interest rates. Well, guess what happens a year from now when that FHA buyer who got a 3% interest rate, suddenly when the student loans start coming due and all this other stuff and they can't handle it, and they just say, look, no investor is going to buy that property because why? No equity. But if I can take over that property subject to at a 3%, do you think a 3% loan will cash flow in today's market? Please say yes. The answer is absolutely yes. So if they have no money, no equity, but I can cash flow $300, $400, $500, $600 a month, guess what? I'll take that all day long. In fact, those are the types of properties I'm looking for as rentals right now. I am not one of these guys that go down and do the Bur Method and put a bunch of loans in my name. No, I'm not. I'm going to go find the FHAs, the VAs of the world, and the people who over-leveraged, that didn't put a large down payment on their house, but ran into some difficulties. They get one payment or two payments behind, maybe even 3 or 4. But even at that, $5,000, $6,000 to bring them current is far better than coming out of pocket 20% down. And the loan's not in your name, so you can buy hundreds of these without it affecting your credit at all. Not 1 point. Okay. So I'm going to make you a few promises. One is I'm going to show you how to eliminate debt $5,000 at a time. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time because that's wholesaling, but I'm going to spend most of the time on the owner finance stuff. How to find good deals with a minimum profit of $25,000, and then how to create multiple offers. Fair enough? All right. So, and we're not talking about Saturday. So there are 4 main ways to make money in this business. Number 1 is wholesaling. Again, we're not going to be talking a lot about wholesaling tonight, but as part of, remember I told you I'm the entire chain, right? When you talk about the chain is only as strong as its weakest link, and I have all the material you need to make that strong chain, right? So we're going to be talking all the way from wholesaling everywhere to setting up your business, everything. So we're going to talk about wholesaling. If you don't know what that is, basically I'll give you some really fast. It's where you go down, you find a motivated seller, you put it under contract, right? For $120,000, it's worth $200,000. You go find another buyer and you sell, or you assign that contract to them for $125,000. You walk away with $5,000, no risk, no cash. That's easy. Everybody wants to do wholesaling, and I don't blame you. But you need to have other things in your toolbox, because not everything will fit in this particular buy box, right? Not every deal you look at will be a wholesale deal. You're going to run across properties that are over leveraged, but have a good payment on them. And you can buy those subject to, and you can use those as rentals. I mean, how many people, I seriously want to know this. How many people would love to buy rentals, but don't have the money to go down, or the credit to go down and put a bunch of money in there, or put a bunch of money down, or get loans in their name? I mean, a lot of you, right? So think about that. I mean, think about how much money it costs to get a rental. What's the average? Somebody tell me in the comments, what's the average home in Boston cost? What's the average median home for a 3-2 rental cost? $650? Damn. $800? Okay. So you really do just add the zeros onto those things I just told you. All right. Okay. So think about this. On an average rental, you're going to put 20% down on a $500,000. How much is that? How much is 20% down? Come on. Do the math. 100,000. Very good. Okay. That's if you want to buy a rental. So would it be worth something to you? Would it be worth you spending, let's just put a number on it, 10 grand with me for me to teach you how to do that, where it doesn't cost you anything? Would that be something that would be interesting? Raise your hand. If you don't, that's fine. Maybe this isn't for you. Because I'm going to teach you a skill tonight that nobody can take away from you. Well, I can't teach it to you all tonight. I'm going to present a skill that I will teach you later that nobody can take away from you. I have been using this technique for 20 years. I can tell you I've bought hundreds of properties, and ask me, and here's my hands, ask me how many properties I've put in my name or how many times I've gone down to the bank. Go ahead, ask me. I'm listening. I can tell you, 0. Almost everything I've purchased has been subject to or creative financing. Almost all of it. I just don't do that. And someone that says, well, you can't do that. Trust me, some of you right now are thinking, well, you can't do that. And you're trying to find excuses why you can't. You know who you are. It's already in your head. You're already saying, well, we can't do that here. I can't do that. I'm here to tell you, I have 300 people in my coaching program that will prove you wrong. And they're all over the country. You just have to learn how to do it. All right. So let's talk about, here's a before and after. That's a before of a wholesale deal. That's an after. It hasn't changed because you don't do squat to it. All you do is take the contract, sell the contract to somebody else, walk away with a few dollars in your pocket, and that's it. You are not an investor in this case. You are a mover of widgets. It can be the same as doing this phone. I'm going to buy this phone, or I'm going to put this phone under this contract. I'm going to sell this to somebody else. And it could be anything. So why not think of yourself as a problem solver as opposed to a real estate investor? That's what you are. You're solving a problem. You're putting money in your pocket. Okay. The reason people wholesale, and I'm going to tell you this, the reason most people wholesale because they need cash, they don't have good credit or don't want to use their credit, and they don't have a lot of money, and they don't know how to buy properties and flip them. So they think, well, I'll just wholesale. It's easy. That is correct. But I'm going to show you a better way. Okay, so then you have retail and rehab. That's what I've done most of my career, right? That's where you come in here, you buy a property, the same 200, you put it under contract, you buy it for 120, you go and do a bunch of stuff to it, you fix it, and then you turn around, put $20,000 in it, you turn around and sell it to a retail buyer for that 200, you walk away with $60,000. You have some risk, but you got a big payday. That's the buy, fix, and flip model. Can you do that when you buy something subject to? Absolutely. Absolutely. Most of my rehabs, I buy subject to, because I don't have, if I need to put $30,000 in renovation in it and they owe 100 and it's worth 250. Why should I go and get a loan for the whole 150 or whatever I need to take out the first and the second? No, I'm going to take over the first subject to. That means I don't have to go down in the bank and get that much money. And I'm going to go find someone to give me the $20,000 or $30,000 I'm going to need as a private lender. Now, you may go, Don, I don't know any private lenders. Stop making excuses for yourself, because I'm here to tell you 4 out of every 10 people you meet have the potential to be your private lender. You just haven't learned how to ask them yet. Now, I will prove this. And please pay attention to this because you'll screw my numbers up. There's 44 people on this call. I want you to raise your hand if you have one of these types of investments. If you have an old 401k from a previous company, raise your hand. Old 401k. Okay, so please pay attention. Don't not raise your hand because you will screw my numbers up. Now, how many people have keep your hands up, by the way. How many people have an IRA, whether it be a Roth, traditional, any other kind of IRA? Raise your hand with that. And the other people, keep your hands up. Okay, there's more. I don't know if you guys can see the hands raised. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, or 12. Okay. So 12 out of 44. What percentage is that? And I can't even, well, I would make one. So that would be 13. And there's probably a couple more. 20%. Okay. I'm here to tell you people aren't paying attention, because every state, every room, everything that I've been in for the last 25 years, and I've made this, 4 out of every 10 people you meet have one of those investments in them. 4 out of every 10. So now what you have to do is you have to figure out how to talk with them, tell them how they can invest, because the average person isn't getting a great investment return, and how they can get money. Okay. 40% of the people you know, you just haven't figured out how to ask them yet. So here's a before and after. This is something that we worked on. We bought this cash, 20 grand, right? Went ahead and fixed it up, made a fortune at this. We sold it for, I don't know, 300,000. This one here, another one, buy, fix, and flip. We came in, made it HGTV, took out the walls, made it look nice. Turned around that property. This property right here, we took over subject to. There's the bathroom. Most people will go in and they will just clean that up. Not me. I go in and I make it something that someone absolutely, that's $140,000 neighborhood, by the way, here in Atlanta, which for you guys might be a $300,000 neighborhood. I don't know. People were lined up across the street to get in to make offers on these houses. This is another one. These are all buy, fixes, and flips, right? This is your rehab. This is what I do for a living. So those are the owner finance. Okay. We're not going to this is where you don't have to qualify at a bank. You don't have to go down and qualify. That comes in the form of, so that owner finance is where you take ownership, but you don't have to use banks. And the fourth one is sandwich lease options, or creating a way to control the property without putting the loan in your name, without putting the risk on you. You can control that and still reap the benefits in 3 different profit centers. So why subject to? Why should you even pay? Why should you even pay attention to me? Why should you care? How much does so think about this. How much does the average American have saved for retirement? These are in Atlanta. That's just where I am. But the concept works everywhere. I have people in North Carolina. I have people in Florida. I have people in Tennessee. I have people in Texas, Michigan, New Jersey, Ohio. It works everywhere. Okay. How much does the average, give me a number. So James says 250,000. Okay. Here's the statistics for you. According to Transamerica, the Americans in their 20s have saved for retirement $16,000 on average. In their 30s, 45. In their 40s, 63. In their 50s, 117. And in their 60s, 172. Now, what age are you? You don't need to tell me. What age are you? How do you compare to this? Okay. How do you compare to this? So let's talk about the next step. Well, we said, how much do people have? Now let's talk about how much do they need if they want to retire. So you got a have and a need. Well, here's what they tell you. If you want to retire on $100,000 a year equivalent income, now wherever you are, you can adjust this, but this is $100,000. If you wanted to retire on the equivalency of making $100,000 a year, you need a starting balance in your checking account or in your retirement account of $2.5 million. Okay. And you got to mix that up with 60% stocks, 40% bonds, and there's got to be a mixture in there. In order for you to sustain retirement on an average of equivalent of $100,000 a year. Now, let me ask you, how many people have $2.5 million squirreled away, or in your case up in Boston, you guys may need twice that much to live. Right? So some of you may be asking yourself, damn, how the hell do I get there? I'm nowhere near that. Don't panic, because when you listen to the general media, they're talking about the average person who doesn't know what we know. You're talking about the average person that their American dream is they work for a company for 30 years, they get the gold watch, they retire, and they have a pension. We don't follow that same prescription or subscription. That's not what we do. So think of it a different way. Imagine $100,000 a year equivalent is about, anybody know what that income ratio is? Like after, once, how much money per month that is? Anybody know? Well, let me save you from that math exercise. It's about $8,000, $9,000 a month cash flow, right? So that's the income equivalent to $100,000 a year. Well, if I don't have $2.5 million, how do I get the equivalent of $8,000 to $9,000 a month? I buy rental properties. I buy properties that will give me. So let's say the average income that I get from a rental property is $500 a month. How many properties do I need to give me $8,000 a month, or let's just say $10,000 a month? I need 20 properties in that case. Now, someone says, let's see. I'm assuming you mean Social Security. Okay. The difference between real estate is your income can be less because you have a ton of write-offs. Okay. Your taxes will adjust because of real estate. Real estate is, if you look at everybody that has wealth, not almost everybody that has any wealth to them whatsoever has real estate in their portfolio because of all the write-offs. So think about it. In order for me to retire at 100 and close to 120, whatever that number is, with 10 houses, I need 20 houses. So if you start today and you're going to go 10 years to retire, how many houses do you need to buy in 10 years? 20 houses. How many houses is that a year? How many houses is that a year? In 10 years, I want 20 houses. That's 2 houses a year. Very good. Can you buy, especially with subject to, can you buy 2 houses a year, not having to go down, put them in your name, not having to qualify at a bank? You can have 20 houses in no time. And the faster you pay them off, guess what? You don't even need that many. So figure out what your retirement amount is that you need. Figure out what your cash flow is, and then you figure out how many houses you need to buy. Subject to is the way to do that. Because if you put houses in your own personal name, you're only going to get about 4. And if the economy keeps going the way it is, and the interest rates keep climbing the way they are, you may not even get that many, because the lenders are starting to pucker up. Okay. So imagine never having to use your credit, never having to sign personally, never having to qualify, never having to use any of your own money, and put that example we used, that $50,000. Imagine putting that in your pocket over and over and over again. Okay. So this is the traditional ownership. Now in Boston, you guys may have to educate me a little bit on this, because the last time I was up there, I was in Worcester, and I think I pronounced that correctly. It's certainly not how it's spelled, but I was in Worcester, and they did something a little different, right? So I'm going to show you this, and you guys can educate me and tell me if I'm wrong. But a typical ownership everywhere else in the country, because you guys may have some little differences because of your title, and your title searches up there are all messed up. Because now, do you guys still transfer properties via a a warranty deed or a quitclaim deed up there. Because when I went up to Worcester, they said they transfer most of the properties up there via quitclaim deed because the titles were so much a mess. Yep. Okay. That's what I thought. Okay. So thank you for that. All right. So I'm going to show you traditional ownership, and we'll show you how to adjust that for Boston, right? Traditional ownership. When I go down and I buy this house, I got to, if I reach into my pocket and pull out 200,000, they're going to give me a warranty deed. That's going to give me ownership, right? That's all I need. But if I don't have 200,000, I got to go down to the bank and I got to borrow that money. When I go down to the bank and borrow that money, they're going to give me a promissory note. Now, if this is all the paperwork I get and I stop making payments on that, what happens? Quickly, somebody type what happens. Well, Justin, I would love to provide you a good example. This was already in my slides. So that's why I said, just make the adjustments. I'm sorry. Adrian says foreclosure. Absolutely not. That is not what will happen in this case. Now, are you guys in a judicial state or a non-judicial state? You guys even know? Because I failed to look that up when I came on. I did not. I normally do that, but I did not in this case. So let me explain to you this, because you need to understand the paperwork behind all this. This is why I tell you watching a 10-minute video on YouTube doesn't do it justice. Okay, so you're a judicial state. Thank you very much. All right. So even in a judicial state, if this is all the lender makes you sign, they do not have a right to foreclose. Because why? There is no lien document. There's no security instrument securing the property to the loan the money they just gave you. All they gave you was a promissory note. So you need to understand the paperwork behind this. So the next thing they will give you is a bank will put is a security instrument. Some states call it a mortgage. Some states call it a deed of trust. Some states like Georgia calls it a security deed. Okay. But what that instrument does is that puts a lien against the property so that if you stop paying on that promissory note, they can now exercise their right in a judicial process, meaning they're going to have to file a lis pendens or a lawsuit to go and steal or grab that warranty deed through the courts out from under you. Because the warranty deed, the minute you buy that house, you own that house. But if you have a loan, you can't just sell that house without paying that off, right? Anybody have any questions? I'm happy to answer them as we go, because I know this can get kind of complicated really fast if you're not already somewhat familiar with. So a typical subject to, this is a typical ownership right here. In a subject to, guess what? The only thing that changes, if this person goes down and they see my sign and it says we buy houses or whatever marketing you're going to do, they come in, I sit down with them and I say, okay, the only way I can help you is if, let's just use the FHA example. They have no equity. They have a good payment, and the house is in good shape, but they don't have any room. We don't have any room to give them any money, but they just want out from under it. I can go in and say, the only way I can buy your house is to buy it by you conveying the ownership to me, right? What happens is they convey, in this case, it would be a quitclaim deed up in your neck of the woods. But in most cases around the country, it's a warranty deed. That warranty deed conveys ownership. Okay? That's it. That's the basics. Now, there's more to it than that, which is what I will educate. There's a paperwork behind the scenes, so on and so forth. But that's pretty much it. That's pretty much the basics of a subject to. It's where somebody just signs over the ownership to your home, and then you simply take and you make the payments to the bank that they missed. So if they were $3,000 behind or $5,000 or $10,000 behind, you just make those payments. And sometimes they're not even behind at all. There's plenty of homes where, especially if it's an FHA or VA, they lost their job and they're like, look, I'm about to lose my job, or I lost my job. I'm current right now, but I'm not going to continue to be current. So there are plenty of houses we took over subject to where we just started making the payments. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to ask. So remember the house that we talked about before, this house where I said everybody, they agree that it's a good deal, but they don't have the $150,000. Well, guess what? If you don't need 150, if you take over that first subject to, regardless of what the amount is, and you only have to bring $5,000 in repairs to the property, your profit's the same, but your return on investment, because you're only putting in $5,000, goes up through the roof. So, and if it's not you putting that money, if you're borrowing that from somebody, it's infinite return. Okay, so David asked the question. So you bring them current and then you take over the lien or the note. Yes. Well, you don't take over the lien. The lien stays in place. All you're doing, and you're not even signing and taking over the note. All you're doing is making the payments directly to the bank. So if Bank of America was the one that had the original note and they're at 4% and the homeowner owes $200,000 on this property, they get a statement every month. Okay. There's paperwork that we do, which is the more complicated part of it. This is why I tell you need someone to walk you through this once. But the paperwork we give you, you'll send to the bank. You'll actually notify the bank that the property has transferred hands, right? And all the statements will start coming to you. The loan will still be in the homeowner's name. You're just going to make the payment on their behalf. Now, I know some of you are saying, "Oh, Don, that's illegal." No, it's not. No, it's not. It is not. There is no such thing as a due on. That's someone that says you're violating the due on sale clause. There is no such thing as due on sale jail. They do not put you in jail for violating the due on sale, meaning you sell the homeowner sells the property without paying off the loan. This does not happen. And as a matter of fact, you can look on an older HUD, not the new ones. I don't think the new ones have them on it, but the older HUDs have a spot already on there that says loan taken subject to. Okay. So David says, so why do people get so wrapped up with the due on sale clause? That's a great question, David. And the answer I can give you is because they don't understand it. They automatically think that the bank will call it due, and they don't understand it. I've been doing this 25 years. I've done hundreds of these things. I've never had one called due. In fact, I don't know of anybody personally that has had one call. I've heard people, and every time I've heard that someone has had one called due, I dig in a little further and I find out they did something stupid. They either didn't make the payments or they did something completely stupid that the bank would have automatically called the thing due anyways. Now, there is a couple exceptions into this rule. I need you to understand this, so pay attention. The exceptions are reverse mortgages. Reverse mortgages, their intent is to have the house, meaning when somebody dies, they automatically want the house. They want their asset back. So subject to, you shouldn't do a subject to on a reverse mortgage. And you should be careful when doing a subject to on with credit unions. A small credit union may call a loan due because they just don't want the risk. They don't want the liability. All the other banks, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, as long as you're making the payments, honestly, they won't care. Now, you need to understand that there is a due on sale clause. There is a possibility. It says the lender, and the way it's written is the lender may, at its option, call the loan due, full, and payable. That's the verbatim wording. And the operative word is may at its option. Now, if you want to read more about this, you go pay attention and go look up what's called the Garn St Germain Act. Go read about it. And inside that Garn St Germain Act, it'll outline all this stuff. Okay. And back in the day, back in the late 70s, the way this came about was banks stopped. Interest rates were high double digits, 18%. So people were assuming loans and the banks were losing money because it's all about money. Banks were losing money. So what they did was they put clauses in there that said you can't transfer, you can't sell houses. And if you transferred a property, then the loan would be called due. Well, that went all the way to the Supreme Court because there's lots of reasons why people transfer properties from their own personal name to entities. Lots of reasons for estate planning purposes. Went all the way to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court came back with a ruling that says they can put a due on sale clause in, but it's not enforceable if the person puts it into what's called a revocable, or it's called a inter vivos trust, which basically is a trust agreement, right? And they remain in the property. So the bank can't call it due. Now, when we buy it subject to, we do violate that. But the bank, there's lots of reasons why the bank won't do that. Banks want money. Now, this is where I said earlier on this technique is not for everybody. If you are a nervous Nelly, don't do this one. I'm not telling you to do this. I'm telling you that if you understand how to do this technique, it will change your investment career forever. But just like anything else, when you take over someone else's mortgage and you promise that you're going to make their payment, you need to make their payment. I treat all my subject to loans as if they're in my name. The only reason I use subject to as a technique is because I don't have to go down and get $200,000, $300,000 when it's already in place. I just simply start making the payments. It's a financial tool. And if you can think of it that way, it makes perfect sense to you. So I would love to have any questions you have, but I got to move on. Okay. So this is an example of a subject to. There's the after repair value. They owe 120. They deed the property to you. You, no banks, no money, no credit. Then you go and you turn around and you can either retail that property, you can rent it, you can lease option it, you can do anything you want with that because guess what? You own the property. You can own or finance it, you can do whatever. And then you turn around and you do whatever you want for whatever price above what you paid for that. In this case, whatever their underlying loan would be. Okay. You remember this house? Remember that when I said that there was zero equity in that? This was one of my coaching students. He bought this subject to deal, $85,000, put $10,000 in repairs, carpet and paint, and some other things. He had an existing principal, interest, tax, and insurance payment of $650. He rented it for $1,250. So he had no equity in the property, but he was able to get $600 a month. He rented that for 2 years. The ARV at that time was $99,000. So he rented it. 2 years later, he was able to sell that property for $100,000 cash, which netted him $61,000. So the difference between a good deal and a bad deal in real estate is nothing more than time. Okay. So that's exactly what I'm talking about when you have deals. If you understand how to do them and what they look like and how to solve someone's problem, piece of cake. Here's another subject too. There's a couple here. They bought this house. This was a probate that the brother passed away. The other brother took over the property. It went through probate. Here's the numbers. They paid the seller $6,000. They reinstated it for $2,000 and $4,000 in repairs. Their payment was only $1,100 a month. They rented it for $1,600. Their cash flow was $500. So that really cost them, let's see, paid the seller $6,000, reinstated for $2,000. That's $8,000. That's $12,000, $13,000 or $1,200, $12,000 to get into this property. And they've kept this thing. They still own this thing to my knowledge. Okay. Here's some more another student that does this constantly, right? She took over a property, 106. Let me see if I underline it. Yep. 116,000. She put 6,000 in reinstatement. She rehabbed it, sold it for 149.9. So the difference between 149 and 116, whatever that number is, took over a loan balance of 176, rented it for a year and a half at 1,500, sold it for 198. You can kind of get the gist of it. I don't want to. She bought and sold probably, I think she's at 8 or 9 houses right now where she bought them all subject to and took them over. Then you have the third one, which is sandwich lease options. This is another technique that I will teach you. And the last two techniques that I just mentioned here are the most important ones going into 2022, the latter half, and 2023. This is where you need to get all your ducks in a row, because as the interest rates climb and the recession starts to hit and the houses become, because right now you have one house for 20 buyers. Soon enough, you're going to get 5 houses for 5 buyers. And then you're going to go to 10 houses or 20 houses for 1 buyer. Right? That's the trend. That's the cycle of a real estate. When that happens, you're going to need all of these tools. And this is where you're going to make a fortune, because you make your millions in real estate by buying low and selling high. People who are buying right now all cash are not making millions or not getting financially independent. They are going to struggle with those, because when the economy turns, and it will, it's going to be that much longer for them to recover from the fact that they overpurchased. So this is the technique that you've got to learn right now. All right, David says, in the subject to, can you talk about who owns the property? You own the property because they deed the property over to you. If you take over the payments, do you own it, or does the original owner? You own it. You own the property because they convey ownership. The ownership is in the deed, in your case, a quitclaim deed. Whoever gives you that quitclaim deed, you own that property. You just didn't sign for the debt. So you get the best of both worlds. So you own the property, you can rent it, you get all the cash flow, you get the taxes, you get the depreciation, the appreciation, everything. The only thing is, you didn't have to qualify for it. Okay, so James says, love seller financing, bought in April of last year with 30K seller financing. Perfect. Okay, so here's a sandwich lease option, typical. They go, whoops. I think I went through that pretty fast. So this, you owe 120. Let's say their payment is 1,100. I think I did that wrong, but that's lease and an option. You go out and you find somebody else that wants to lease an option or sandwich lease option. So in this case, I'm going to option it from the homeowner of what they owe of 120. I'm going to give them 0% option deposit, and I'm going to lease it for what they owe of $1,000. Now, can you adjust that and give the homeowner 125? Sure. Can you give them an option deposit? Sure. Can you give them higher than what they owe? Sure. But you just need to make sure on this side of the fence, you are above that so that you make money. So I would go in and option this out to my new buyer for 175 with a $5,000 option money and $1,400 a month. So in the middle, so there's your numbers. So the front end, I get $5,000. In the middle, I get $400. And on the back end, when this thing sells, I get $50,000. And you know the beauty part of this? I don't even own this. I don't even own this. Now that's a plus and a minus. So that's a positive and a negative. And we will talk about that later. Okay. So in this grand scheme of thing, that one house that you put under that you have zero risk, you're not on the loan, you make $64,000. Okay. So who would give you this? Who would do this? If you're asking yourself, divorce, death, foreclosure, 2 payments, job loss, job relocation. Does any of that happen in Boston? Of course they do. All right. So what paperwork is needed? Simple. You need a few pieces of paper. You need a purchase and sale agreement, authorization to release. You will need a limited, now this is done at closing. You'll need a limited power of attorney, and you'll need a CYA letter. Plain and simple. Those are the ones. Now, those 2 at the bottom, the reason they're at the closing table is because they need to be notarized. The first one is the limited power of attorney. Well, there's your purchase and sale agreement. That's pretty standard. Okay, that's where all your numbers go. That tells you all the subject to information. Then you'll need an authorization so you can contact the bank and find out whether, make sure they're not lying to you as far as what they owe. Okay, why is paperwork important? Because this limited power of attorney, not all limited power of attorneys are created equal, but this is a guy, JR, in Florida. He bought a house subject to, in fact, somebody sold it to him literally on a napkin. You've heard of people saying, oh, you can write a contract on a napkin. Well, guess what? He did. But he didn't get the rest of the paperwork he needed on a subject to. He bought the house, moved into it, and guess what? He couldn't service the loan. He couldn't go. The bank wouldn't talk to him. You need a power of attorney in order for you to talk to the loan, to the bank. If you don't have that, they will not talk to you. The other piece of paperwork is the CYA letter. That CYA letter basically gets signed at the closing by the homeowner, and it basically says a number of things. It says, you understand you're selling this subject to. You understand there's a loan on the property and it's going to stay there. You understand that I'm owning it, but the loan is staying in your name. You understand it's going to remain on your credit report. You understand all of these things. It's a whole paragraph. It's a whole bunch of stuff, right? They sign that, and it's notarized. So they can never come back to you and say, I didn't know. Okay. Okay. Say if you sell the property to just pay off the mortgage you originally took over a lump sum, you don't have to pay it off. You can make payments just like they're making payments. I'm not sure I understand. So, and then we're going to show you how to take title. I don't have time to talk about how you take title, but one of the things that we'll teach you is how to take title in either a land trust, which makes you invisible, an LLC, LP, or LLC. So depending on what your circumstances are, so that'll be the case. Now we are at 9 o'clock. One of the things that I'm going to kind of skip over, is there any questions on any of this right now? Because I still got more content, but it's getting late. And I want to cover what I'm here to offer you. There's 5 steps: finding motivated sellers, pre-screening. Okay, so remember I told you earlier, you have to have a step-by-step process. This is part of it. Finding motivated sellers, not finding sellers, finding motivated sellers. Okay, those are the ones that are, if you're in the right living room, guess what? Guess what? You can get a contract signed with not a single thing written on that page. Just here, take my house, please. I do it all the time. Pre-screening, make offers, use private funds, and sell for profit. There's your recipe. Okay. So locating sellers, I'm going to go through this really fast. So what you want to do is there's many ways that you can find motivated sellers: direct mail, texting, IVR, ringless voicemail, email, shotgun. We'll teach all that to you, right? Driving for dollars, door knocking, all that. There's 1,001 ways for you to find this. This is just one. You go out, you do a handwritten letter. Right. Driving for dollars, driving foreclosures. I take this letter, I put it in that mailbox, that little priority mail. Guess how much that stuff cost me? $0. I can go to the post office and order a case of these tomorrow, and it cost me nothing. So I take that letter, which cost me next to nothing. I put it in this envelope. Don't put an address on it. Just put it in there and don't put an address. Okay. And then I put it in front of the house. Another way is text blasting. We're going to show you the service we use. We use REI Reply. We're going to show you how to take numbers, put them into a text blasting service, blast it out, and they come to you. Now you'll get people to say, stop calling me, but then you also get, because you're looking for that needle in a haystack. You're looking for that 1 out of 100, 2 out of 100. All you need is how many in a year? 2, right? To retire. Okay. Let's just say 1 a quarter. You need 4 of these a year to retire in 5 years. Simple. All right. Locating sellers through probate, pre-foreclosure, expired listings, non-occupied owners, for sale by owners. There's dozens of ways you can find them. We'll cover all those. To pre-screen them, that's the next step. We're going to show you how to collect the information, determine the motivation, whether they're a want versus a need, why you should get involved. Do they have equity? Notice I didn't put, do the numbers work in step number 2? I don't care what the numbers look like. I care what their motivation is. Are they a need to sell or a want to sell? Are they in foreclosure or do they want a bigger house? If they're in foreclosure, that's the person I'm talking to. If they're in a bigger house, they may not be for me. Then I figure out, once I know the motivation, then I figure out, is there equity or can I make money? And if so, I make the appointment. I use a simple sheet like this that basically says, what's the house worth? What do you want? How much do you owe? What are your payments? Are you behind? I know I'm going fast, but I got to get through this, right? You're going to ask 5 simple questions. Well, let me back up one second. This sheet is your script, but we have 4 other scripts that if you want something that spells it out for you, we have that, right? So you're going to collect all this information. How much do you owe? What do you want? Why are you selling? What are your payments? What's your interest rate? Are you behind? When they answer all those questions, you are gathering the information that you will need to solve their problem. The answer is keep going. Okay, thank you. Are you coming back tomorrow? No, unfortunately. I normally do a Saturday, but I'm not in this case. Okay. Making offers, simple proven system to write offers. We'll show you how to buy. We'll show you how to give you at least 3 offers in every case. Okay. When you're talking to a seller, remember this, always talk equity. So if they have an ARV of 100, they're asking 55 and they owe 50. What are they asking for? Okay. They're asking for 55 and they owe 50. So what do they want? They want $5,000. So once you understand what they want, now you start talking, now you shift from, okay, I can give you 49, or let's just say 350. Use that number for Boston, 350, 450, whatever. Instead of saying, I'll give you 448. No, talk about the equity. So in this case, there's $5,000 worth of equity. Mr. Seller, so if I understand you correctly, if I can get you $5,000 of your equity, you'll sell me this house, right? Yes, that's what I'm saying. Okay, great. Now you start talking about 5,000. I can't really give you 5,000. Might be able to give you 2,500. Might be able to give you this. Might be able to give you that, because they don't have to do math. If you start doing, well, I'll give you $52,252. They have to do math. A confused mind says no. Don't confuse anything. So what you say and how you say it makes a difference. I'm going to show you how to use a set of software that's super simple. See those things to the left right there? Those are what we call, those came off that white sheet I just showed you. You plug those numbers in, you go down to Zillow. That's right. You heard me say Zillow. And you plug these numbers in with the houses surrounding it. It will tell you what the square footage is. It'll tell you all your average cost per square foot. It'll tell you what your average is. And it'll also give you your ARV. That ARV goes there. And then you put all the numbers in that was on that white piece of paper. And at the end of the day, when you're all done, it will literally tell you what you can offer a seller. Now, I know I went extremely fast, but this software is worth 10 grand by itself. If I had this, I created this software, but I created this out of necessity. I would have paid, what I know now, I would have paid 10 grand for this software because I use it 3 times. I use it when I evaluate a house before I go. I use it when I get to the homeowner so I can show them why they can't get what they think they want. And the third time I use it is when I sit down with my private lender, I show them what we're doing. In this case, I show them what the cash required is, what our profit is, what our return is, so that they can see all the numbers of the deal and they go, oh, okay, I understand. So I use this 3 different times. It's an evaluation tool that is second to none. And all you have to do is plug in a few numbers and it will tell you what to offer the seller. It'll tell you the cash required, the net profit, the return, loan to value ratio, and then it'll go down here and it'll actually tell you the 3 offers that you can make. You can make a some now, some later, more now, more later, and all cash offer. It'll break it down into 3 different offers. Okay. What happens if the numbers fail? If they fail, you get red lights and it says, warning, Will Robinson, stop. Then it'll come down here and it'll break it down and it'll tell you what you can do as a short sale. It'll tell you what you need to offer the banks as a short sale to make this deal work for you. Now, the good news for you is this comes with all the materials I give you. The bad news is you got to be a member. Okay. People ask me all the time, can you just sell me this? No. It's like me giving you a gun and not teaching you how to use it. So, but this thing here made this guy 20 grand, this software, or 35 grand, excuse me. He came to me and he said, Don, I have a deal, but the guy owes too much. And I said, did you go through the easy offer maker? He is, yeah, it just failed. He goes, he's never going to, I can't make the deal work. I says, well, that's fine. Go to him and put in a negative number down there and wait till it shows the right profits. He goes, yeah, I did that, but it says he'd have to bring $35,000 to the table. I'm like, and? He goes, he'll never do that. I'm like, do me a favor. Just make the offer. He goes, okay. Made the offer. Guess what? Called me back 2 hours later doing backflips. This guy literally paid him. This guy paid him $35,000 to take the property, and he bought it subject to. So don't tell me it doesn't work. So how many people want to join? How many people want me to teach you how to do this? Anyone? Because remember, at the beginning of the night, I told you this isn't for everyone. And some of you are going to be negative Nellies. That's fine. You're not the person I'm looking for. Okay. I'm looking for someone that's hungry to make money in real estate. You can look this up. This subject to has been around forever. It's been around for as long as I've been around, and I've been using. There are lots of people out there using this technique. The people who are turning you against it are the people who, like, I have attorneys to this very day tell me, yeah, you shouldn't do subject to. Well, let me ask you a question. What is the attorney's main function? And there may be some attorneys on here, so I'm not trying to diss any attorneys if there's any on the call. But what's the main purpose of an attorney? To tell you, the main purpose of an attorney is to tell you what possibly could go wrong. Plain and simple. If you take my purchase and sale agreement, let's just say it's my purchase and agreement. I've used my purchase and sale agreement in every state in this country for 25 years. If you take my purchase and sale agreement to an attorney in your state right now, how many people think, by a show of hands, how many people think he's going to say, well, you need to do this, you need to change that, you need to do this? Why? Because you're paying him for advice. He's going to give you advice. Okay. So a subject to transaction is, it's not for everyone. I'm here to tell you, but subject to isn't the only way to do that. If subject to scares you, then we'll teach you how to do a wraparound mortgage. Okay. It keeps the seller involved. There is no due on sale clause violation at that point. We'll teach you other ways to get to the same place. I like subject to because I get the deed and I'm in control. Okay. But you can do a wraparound mortgage that serves the same purpose, but could be safer for the homeowner or one that the attorney might like. So don't get hung up on subject to. We're going to teach you all the creative ways to do this. So if you come to me and say, my seller doesn't want to do subject to, the next thing out of my mouth is, okay, well, why don't you do a wraparound mortgage? Okay. So Brian, you said you got to run. So here's what I'm going to tell you while you're running. Go to get expertrealestatecoaching.com. Those are the two offers that I'm going to show you in a few minutes. But go do that. Pick one. I'm going to do some course material that I'm going to offer you. Then I'm going to offer you a full year's worth of coaching where I hold your hand. So if you hang with me for 10 more minutes, I'll cover this all. So the fastest and easiest way to make money in the real estate, remember I told you it's not studying, it's not, reading. That's so 1980s, right? The fastest way to make money is having someone hold your hand. That's why I'm here. I've been doing real estate for 25 years. Now, why are you here? Is it because you can't get the right seller, can't find them, don't understand the steps, feel like you need to learn everything before you do anything? Okay, unsure of where to find the money, afraid of losing the money, paperwork. Remember, I told you that the chain is only as strong as its weakest link. I'm going to give you an entire system. Okay. I'm going to show you how to find the sellers, what to say to them, how to negotiate, how to structure a deal. My biggest asset to you is when you pick up the phone and you go to a house, you pick up the phone and you literally call me and say, Don, I am at the seller's house. Here's the numbers. What do I offer? Or what do I do? That's the biggest benefit when you come to me. Okay. What paperwork is necessary? I'm going to show you all of that. How do I sell? Well, if the economy, or not if, when the economy takes a dump, how are you going to sell? The traditional way of selling will change. I've been through many cycles. I will be able to work you through this. Everybody thinks success is a straight line. That is not true. Success is messy. And we're going to teach you what we call the 5 pillars. We're going to tell you goals and objectives. We're going to figure out whether you're a wholesale. We're going to give you the education. We're going to go through the different pillars, the marketing, the due diligence, the funding, the management, and the marketing. Can't see, I'm in the way. I'll get out of the way. Marketing. And then we're going to teach you what we call DAD, where you're going to delegate what you don't like to do, automate what you can, and delete what you don't want to do or don't need to do. Okay. So my job is to educate you and give you the steps out and hold you accountable. So your job is to take action, become a problem solver and a transaction engineer. And more importantly, stay focused. Okay. So if you're ready to take action, let me skip through some of this. Whoops, went too far. I put together this program for Boston Rehab specifically. I haven't taught around the country live in forever, and I'm just now getting out of my shell. And this is one of the first venues that I've been teaching other than Georgia and my program around the country. I'm staying in my nice little seat here, right? But I put together a package, get.expertrealestatecoaching.com. When you go there, you're going to see 2 offers. The first offer is going to be, in fact, I threw something here at the end. I know Duncan said, look, dude, we've known each other for a long time. And I know everybody says this, but it really is an offer that I've not offered anybody, right? I'm going to give you creative deal structuring. I'm going to teach you all the different techniques there are, subject to wraparound mortgage. Wholesaling, agreement for deed, contract for deed, all of those. Everything that you could possibly want to know is in this course on creative deal structuring. This is a $700 course. Okay. If you want to buy, I'm not even selling it to you for $397. Okay. I'm not. I'm also going to give you the subject to course. It's setting goals, how to find deals, pre-screen, evaluate, the whole nine, everything you need to know. How to do all the paperwork, all the land trusts. The land trusts alone are worth $2,000. I'm going to tell you that right now. The land trusts that are in this document are worth $2,000. If you go to an estate plan attorney right now, they will charge you at a minimum of $2,000, in most cases, $2,500 to $3,000, just for the land trust alone. Not to mention the power of attorneys and the other CYA letters that you get. Again, I was going to offer these 2 things to you if you wanted to buy each. Tonight, I'm going to combine them and offer them to you at $700 and whatever the price is, $794. Guess what? Not even going to do that. I'm also going to give you all the forms. Every form, there's dozens of forms in here. Purchase and sale, authorization, trust documents, power of attorneys, CYA letters, leases, options, insurance, joint ventures for borrowing money, management agreements, rehab paperwork, everything. All of that. I'm going to throw in the software that I just showed you. In fact, there's 3 other pieces of software I haven't even shown you yet. All of this. And I'm going to hold you accountable. So I've got 2 offers for you. If I gave you my personal cell phone number that you could contact me when you needed something, how many people think that would be valuable? Raise your hand. Especially because based on the number of zeros I saw on this webinar, every single person that had the 0 out there should have their hand raised right now. because I've got 25 years worth of experience that I'm a one phone call away from you. Now, you may say to yourself, you don't really answer your phone. If at the end here, when you become one of my students, if you call that number and I don't pick up, okay, if I don't answer my phone personally, I will double refund your money. If you get someone else other than me, now I say that with a caveat. If you call me, I'm on another line and I don't answer, that's different. But if you call my number and you get an assistant or you get somebody else, I will double your money refund on the spot, because I guarantee you will get my personal cell phone number. And that is unheard of. Yes, you heard me, double refund. If you get someone other than me, I will double your refund, period. Okay. So that alone. So how many people think that it's worth $2,500 to get those two courses plus my personal cell phone number to walk you through this? Well, guess what? I got something better for you. Let me switch over here. This is my website. It's Expert Real Estate Coaching. I have a program that I sell all around the country, and you can kind of see it. It's kind of small. Hopefully you can see it. But right here, when you go to Expert Real Estate Coaching, you have a choice to get all my courses. And when I see all my courses, I'm talking about, let me see if I can scroll. I have REI Blueprint. That course right there is an 8-hour course. Will teach you how to set up your business, what customers you should be going after, what systems, text blasting, whatever, everything you need. Creative deal structuring, subject to, all your forms. These are all the courses that you get. Okay. Plus I'm adding, I think there's 6 more that I've got to add on. This is a new website for me, right? When you become a PPG coaching, I spend an entire year with you and you get all these courses. And with that, you pay $29.97. You get a full year with me. And here, let me also show you what you get. Let me get rid of me. I meet with you every Wednesday from 7 to 9, just like this, but it's all educational. I also meet with you every Monday and Friday for coaching sessions, every Monday at 7 p.m., every Friday at noon. So that's where you get to ask me anything and everything you need. So I give you 3 opportunities a week to talk with me and to grow your business. I also have workshops every single month online, right? That I do. I do a live workshop all day and everything is streamed. Everything is also recorded and put back up on the website. I have multiple home study courses that you will get access to. I have obviously the weekly coaching tool I just mentioned, all the contracts and every piece of paper. If you need a piece of paper, if you need a contract that you don't see, all you do is contact me and I go have my attorney write that contract. If you don't find an agreement that you need or want, you come to me and I will have an attorney draw that paperwork up. I also have a private Facebook group. We also use a communication tool, kind of like a forum that anybody and everybody will ask questions. And we also do group retreats. So that is what you get for, let me go back to this, for this $29.97. That's a full year. Now, I have it broken down from the average person to come in at $19.97 for 6 months. So I've gotten 2 deals with Dustin tonight. If you can't afford, and by the way, that's the price. It's not even that. $24.97 for a full year. Everything I just mentioned to you, if you want to take advantage of that, $24.97 is what it's going to cost you to spend a whole year with me, and I hold your hand the whole way. I give you everything, every tool you need, and I walk you through every step of the way. Don't believe me? Go join for free to this and you read the testimonials. There's dozens of testimonials. We have people from all over the country, but I have 2 offers for you tonight. If you go to get.ly, expertrealestatecoaching.com, you have two choices. You can do this course bundle for $697, and I'll show you what that is, or you can do the coaching for $24.97. So that's even cheaper than what I offered on the website for a full year. But here's what you get. Let me go back to this for 1 second. For that $697, you will get REI Blueprint. You will get creative deal structuring. You will get the subject to course, and you will get all the forms for that $697. So you will get a ton of information. In fact, remember, I told you the land trust alone and the power of attorney is probably worth over $3,000 if you were to go get that made for you tomorrow. Okay. So that's if you just want the courses. But if you want me to hold your hand through the whole year, we talk about marketing. We talk about what you should be doing. We go through every single week. We talk about different aspects of your business. And you will go and create 30-minute sessions with me. Now, I don't know if any of you have already been down this road with other coaching programs that have spent 30, 40, 50, 60 grand. You won't, and you don't, I mean, let me ask you this. Anybody spend that and was unhappy with that? And I know there's always someone in the group that has spent money on that and it wasn't worth it. Of course you did. For $24.97, and I'm going to tell you something, at the end of the year, if you don't think it was worth the $24.97, I'll return your money. If you go through all the coaching and all the information, and you've gone through all that stuff, and you haven't bought at least one house and made your money back, I'll give you your money back. Okay. Adrian says, spent $3,600, didn't get a deal done. Okay. Now, I'm going to tell you something, Adrian. You can go online right now once you become a member and book a 30-minute session with me, and I will know very quickly what I need to do to get you over that hump. And sometimes it's as simple as looking at yourself in the mirror and going, okay, here's where I screwed up. A lot of times it may not be the course, it may be you, but you need someone to recognize what that is and fix it and tell you one small thing that fixes it. And guess what? I've had many students, and you can book as many 30-minute sessions with me as you want. I make it super simple. In fact, let me go back to here. Over here, you will go inside the group. Once you become a member, once you get one of these, in fact, I will set you up. You can go inside here, inside the group PPG coaching, and you will see all kinds of things. We have topics in here that will tell you people have properties, haves and wants, weekly meetings. Every meeting I do, I record and put in here for you to watch later. You can schedule a 30-minute appointment with me anytime you want, and they're usually done Zoom, and I record them. You can submit your deal for review. All these are creative deals. You want to talk about due diligence, fundamentals, all this stuff. Everything I do is recorded and put in here for you to watch. If you can't watch it live, you can watch it later. And Adrian says, didn't have access to a particular person. Guess what? That won't happen for me. You have my word. And if you don't have that, I refund your money. No questions asked. Nobody does that. So, any questions? I know that's a lot. I went long. I'm not used to this. I apologize, Duncan. I apologize. I'm not used to speaking in front of REIA groups. I haven't spoken for a while in front of done timed events. Most of mine are I just ramble till I run out, till people fall asleep on me.
Yeah,
because
no
you're usually
Don, it was great information. I appreciate you going longer, showing everybody exactly what they're going to get. That just helps everyone understand the offer. And I definitely agree with you that this is a crazy market right now. It's very hot, and structuring deals is very important. Even if you're working with a realtor and there's 20 other offers, just structuring a deal differently is going to help a lot. But there is a wave of foreclosures coming. I mean, these interest rates going up, inflation going up, putting the strain on, families. There is going to be a wave of foreclosures. So short sales, bringing loans back online, lease options, all are very valid methods. I went through that downturn in the economy, and it's probably some of the best years of my life in getting lots and lots of deals. So it is creative financing, creative offers is a tool that you have to have in your belt today. So guys, this is a ridiculously great price, 2 courses. The coaching for a full year is phenomenal. So that the URL is there in the chat box. It'll click right through to there. And then once you get that, Don will be in touch with you. Like I said, I've known Don. Like he's been doing more deals than I have longer. So I know him. You can catch him and see his fix and flips as he goes. Matter of fact, I just saw your last TikTok yesterday with after your 10 days of COVID that you had the other day. You can see everything he's doing. He's a real deal. So thank you very much for everyone coming out. If you have anything else, stick in the chat box. Any last questions, grab Don while he's here.
Yeah. This is a business. Let me tell you, and I'm going to mention this while I still have some people on here. This is not for everyone. I get it. But I'm telling you, if you want to change your life and you're not happy with what you've got going on right now, and you're not happy with your real estate career the way it is, and you're not doing all the deals you want to do, I'm here to tell you, I can change that. 1 year with me, and it won't even take a year for most people, okay? Because it's all going to come down to you. And the difference between a good coach and someone that just wants your money is the amount of time they spend with you. And I don't know who was it that said that they bought a coach and they didn't even talk to somebody. Well, guess what? That's not a coach. That's like a puppy mill, right? They just run you through it. And, if you want to go onto the site and look at the testimonials, feel free. Then go and order the course, because I will tell you, Duncan, how long you want me to keep that up there?
Well, I guess until we see the very last person drop out, it's pretty good. I'm
No. I mean, how long do you want me to keep this special up? Because I'm not keeping it up forever.
Okay. No, well, let's keep it up through the weekend. It is playing live, and we'll give people a chance to hear the replay who didn't make the call tonight. So let's keep it up for the week. And we'll pull it down like Friday next week. That'll give me a chance to get everybody to see it who wasn't here tonight, and the other people who have to go ask their wives, and get the spouse buy-in. At $697, it's really no brainer.
And by the way, at that $697, you still get my cell phone number.
Yeah. So
you still get my cell phone number. But I mean, here's some testimonials. It's, as a new member, I believe the Real Estate Blueprint Seminar was the best place for me to start my real estate. That seminar alone has changed people's lives, because they're a dog chasing 6 rabbits and they don't understand even how to start. So that'll walk you through it step by step, where to start.
We have some hands up there. I don't know if they're asking questions or just waving hi, but we have some hands up. My Wookiee's drinking.
Any questions?
Right now, so.
Do I get to keep the course forever? Yes. Once you buy it, it's yours. No, if you're a coaching student, I shouldn't tell you this. I got to tell you, we normally charge people for a year, and then afterwards we tell people we charge them $99 a month. But I'm sure I'll change that. But I haven't charged anybody $99 a month for years. Now, I say that and watch next year I'll change it and I'll actually get off my rear end and actually try to make some money at this. But listen, I'm not into this for the money. You can see by the price. I mean, yeah, $2,500 is a decent price, but that's a year's worth of my time. And with the guarantee I'm giving you, if you spend time with me for that whole year, 3 days a week, and you go through all the materials and you go through all the seminars, and you don't buy at least one house, that's my fault. You deserve your money back. So, but I can tell you, in the 20 years I've been doing this, and probably in the last 12 years I've been doing this, I've not refunded a single penny. I haven't had a refund for anybody that was unhappy with the program ever. In the last, I shouldn't say ever. I've been 10, 15 years before I can tell you that I haven't had any refunds. So that gives you an idea of the quality. And you won't know that till you get in and test it out. But the refund offer is there for you to give you some assurances. But yes, you get to keep the course. Once you get the material, it's all yours. I never take it away from you. Anybody else? Any other questions? I work with people with W-2 and working a realtor. Have worked with people with W-2 and working a realtor. I'm not sure what you mean, Adrian. If you can clarify that, that would be great.
She said time in her chat box there. So, time, sorry, on my phone.
What's that?
No, it was in the chat. Adrian was answering you. The thing.
Well, I guess it helps if I put my damn glasses on.
Yeah.
Let's see. I just really stretched for time. Okay. All right. So, Adrian, let me explain something to you. When you come to me, most people that you come to for this, most people that you deal with here, honestly, are, I don't want to say one trick ponies, because that's not real. I'm not trying to be disparaging to anybody, right? But I've been doing this 25 years. I have literally a course for everything. You want to be better at time management? Guess what? I have a course for you. And it is, where's my mouse? I lost my mouse. Hold on. I have a course for you. Once you become a PPG member, guess what? There's a time management course down here. I have marketing course, time management, and prioritization. So let me click on that for you. When you go in, all my courses are built the same way. This is the 2022 version. I didn't break it out into lessons yet, but this has the morning session and the afternoon session.
Is this going to work on an iPod?
Yes, it works on everything.
Are you sure? Okay. I know those iPad things are like really difficult to.
You sound like Dustin. This is the 2020 version. So as I do sessions, as I do seminars every year, I just keep adding them. So like this is the morning session, and I will teach you how to be the best time manager and time prioritizer you have ever seen. So if you're stretched for time, I can promise you, I can squeeze more things out of you than anybody else. I have a course for just about everything. That's why I make that comment about the chain is only as strong as its weakest link. Well, if you go buy someone's course and they only teach you one thing, well, this is 1,000. I mean, look how many data points you have. Look how many aspects of real estate you have. You have lending, you have due diligence, I have courses for all that. You have rehabs, you have wholesaling. Well, most people only sell one course. I have a whole system built around all of it. And not only that, you can go buy the courses and just follow the courses, and they're A plus. But I take it to the next level and I say, okay, if you have questions, because one of the things that I don't like about most coaching programs is they don't coach you. They take your money, and then when you try to get a hold of them, they're not available. I've been there, but I proactively eliminate that, because if you got questions, I don't want you to wait a week. I want to hit you on a Monday, Wednesday, and a Friday. So I don't want you to go any longer than 1 or 2 days before your question is answered. And if for some reason, like last Wednesday, like yesterday, I didn't have a session because of spring break here, you can schedule a 30-minute session with me and talk to me one-on-one. And that's absolutely part of the program. Find somebody else that'll do that. There isn't any. And that's why I said this isn't for everyone. And I'm not here to convince you to do it. You either see the value or you don't. You know, I mean, it's that simple. You either see the value or you don't. I'm not here to beg you to come on board. I don't do that. So, but I would love to see you. I would love to be part of your journey, but I'm not going to beg. You know, I tell people, even my coaching students now, I tell them, you know what, folks, because I get angry sometimes, and I say, you know what, sometimes I feel like I want you to be more successful than you do. And I do get angry, and I will hold you accountable. So if that's not something you want, pick one of those $40,000 programs.
So Don, we have Deborah just said, thank you very much for the presentation. She needed to leave, but she'll access your website this weekend.
Perfect.
I'm
done.
Susan's going to be signing up. So you'll be getting, in touch with all these people. And then just let you know, James will be reaching out to you via email. He wants to get you on one of his podcasts. And I just want to say, guys, last little thing is also Boston RIA membership, huge benefits, tax deductible, get involved, be part of the networking, be part of our education, a lot of stuff in store for you. Check us out on our website, bostonrealestateinvestorsassociation.com. Text Kelly at 864-906-411. It's in the chat. I have recorded this, so I will be posting it in our members area to replay. The offer will be left up until Friday, so all our members can get a chance to listen to it. Don, just compliments keep coming in, so thank you very much, Don. It is 9:43. I know you stayed over time to answer everybody.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not used to. I'm out of sync.
Don, I know you from long ago. It's always been that way. You stay long.
Yeah, I know. That's true. That is true.
Excuses. I know you're
true. We're grateful that you spent the extra time with us.
That is true. And, I mean, if you think if you like tonight, you will wait. When you become a PPG member, you wait till you see me on a Saturday.
There you go. The link to Don's course is one last time in the chat bar. So thank you very much. I'm going to end the meeting here unless somebody has one last question, which I don't see. Everybody's just saying thank you. So guys, thank you for attending. And next week we have another great meeting in store. Look for our newsletter and some other good announcements during the time. Join us on our Saturday sessions also. Take care, guys.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks.
Thanks, Don.
Bye.